Welcome all. Has anybody got any questions on the minutes as provided last time? If you disagree, they're good.
Yes, I do. According to our recently approved bylaws, we're supposed to mention absences. So I'd like to mention the fact that Tom Lee was absent from last week. Yeah, that.
You can do that.
Okay.
Anything else? Then we're good. You can add that and we can submit it to Ashley and move forward and we can move
So
on.
I'm gonna call on process here just to help you.
Oh.
That
Voting.
we should approve the minutes and we should do so with
I
them.
want to inform that we don't.
You don't.
Do a vote for a couple of minutes.
Robert's rule governor, and it's unanimous consent under Robert's rule. You don't need to.
So if we don't object, he can say they're approved.
He basically asks if there are any material changes to the minutes. If there are no material, if someone has a material change, that material change is addressed. Once those changes are done by unanimous consent, they're approved.
That's great. I love to be corrected. If someone had a objection, they just state it.
They do.
Ed says, I'll fix it. We all say, okay.
Yep. And I gave him, there's actually like a pre-prescribed sentence that he could read, but he effectively said what the sentence says.
Okay.
Wants to be totally formal. And you read this sentence, and if there's no objection to the minutes, there's no material change by unanimous consent. Minute are entered in. It is. It is, which is how Roberts would, just because we just adopted the formalized committee rules this last time, I sent a note and just said, just so you know, there's a new process for minutes under now that it's formal.
Great. Was not aware.
Kelsey, am I spelling your first name right? K-E-L-S-E-Y?
You got it.
Okay.
First try.
Do we have a phone number? Did you share a phone number with us?
I don't think so. Are you ready for it?
With.
740-361-7894.
7894. All right, thanks.
7894.
I knew there was a somewhere. It didn't.
Man, does anyone know what's up? Because I haven't seen.
Yeah, I dropped off some comedy tapes yesterday, Laurel and Hardy, Three Stooges, stuff like that. Because I had just read the book Anatomy of an Illness by Norman Cousins. And one of the ways he got well was by laughing. So, yeah. He was injured and he's in physical therapy recovery.
Because anticipate recovery and a return to some sense of normalcy.
His wife says it's very.
Bernie and I talked about that. He's interested in going on around and next steps and moving forward with all of this. So, but it's the state. What I work on today. So he realizes what would happen. I am.
All in plan.
I just mention that both and I got a little. But we'll be. So today I really just wanted to get on the boards that I sent out. And then talk about the actual public engagement meeting, where, when, how will we advertise it? That sort of package, and hopefully get that set by. I also saw there were some comments about adding in some more information about how parks are supported currently. So if that's something that either John or give Kelsey and I notes on to add to the, I think that'd be great. Or if you know. But yeah, maybe we can start with just the comments. The
Page is on the-
think people what's going on. Yeah, and that would be a ideal situation. Help by Holly. And then you stationed at walk through the main points of each one and give a little more background information.
That's what I thought when I first looked at it was, wow, that's a lot of words. But then I thought, well, if I'm a resident and I'm interested in this, working on a problem. And then I'm going to come to a meeting, I want it to have value. So it's information sharing, so taking the time to be able to learn these things. I think that's becomes a value added experience. And so as I thought about it, the words they weren't an obstacle. So oh, this is intention to be very. So I don't think I would worry about it.
Okay.
That's my thought.
I can almost see the first page, those split into sort of like 3 boards. What's the plan? What's the long conclusion? But maybe, load up the room with 50 boards.
I have a look at that. One piece of feedback, actually a couple of pieces. So I like the points. I thought with one massive glare, and that is a resident. I'm sold. I'm sold by board 3, and my instant question turns to how are we going to pay for them? I likely outcome, and they're going to be like, "This is great. This is fantastic. This is going to affect my taxes." That's how this conversation. And I think we are extraordinarily light on the strategic plan and on the board. What is this going to cost? Right. I think theoretically we know how we pay for it. Answer the question. If the strategic plan comes to fruition, how much will the system cost to run? So I don't know what that number is, right, beyond the estimate but those are people, so that and those numbers. Economic development is the likelihood plan enough. So I don't advocate yet financially think for like I think it will sell the plan itself sells from this is something we'd love to have. I think the obstacle is how much is it going to cost? Is it going to impact me? How are we going to pay for it? Like those questions. And I don't know the answer to any of those. So
an important answer is new development pays for development. New growth pays for development. So I think we have to stake our claim in that principle. How does that flesh out? Well, it will flesh out in the application of TIFs and JEDs and NCA payments.
Yep.
We won't know what those are concretely until developers buy property and project plans that have units per acre or, so you're asking questions that concretely are difficult to answer at this point.
But I think I'm coming, so I buy everything you're saying, right?
Mhm.
I'm coming up from the opposite direction,
Yeah.
which is, okay, I get there's a funding mechanism out
Yes.
there. What is the system cost? $1 million? What is the build, the
Yes.
acquisition, the build, and the run cost of the system over some period of time? And then can there be enough economic growth to support, are those things aligned? In other words, is the economic growth that we envision lined up with that kind of participation, with enough left over to do whatever else we want to do? Does the plan exceed the economic growth, or does the plan require a level of economic growth that would put us in tension with the strategic vision of the plan, because we need more of it? All these questions, even sense answer. And so you've got to, in my mind, and our consultant should help us do this, should help us say what at least what does it cost, right?
So my question to Molly would be, could you go to Morpsey and say, if the township were to have 100% build out on its current zone, it would generate X number of dollars that would sustain this plan? Or if the parks have a build out, let's say that the township builds out over 25 years, and it goes 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%. Here's the dollar amount that we would have at that point in time to execute this percent development. It seems that Morpsey, this is their business, to be able to take this strategic plan, look at a projection of economic development based on new growth, not current residents, and give us some.
Yeah.
Can they do that in a relatively quick? We should have.
And not even the economic development part, but at least what is the cost of this park system? And we can overlay economic development model on top of it. But my own personal perspective is we are underfunded with the park that we have. We do not have and the park we have. So we're starting from my own opinion, an underfunded position. And so I want to be able to walk. If a resident comes in and says, you can't even take care of the park you've got,
Bingo.
it's a mess. What leads me to believe that you can execute a new plan? I've got to have an answer locked, loaded, and ready for, here's why you should have confidence that we can. You're right, we are underfunded. Part of this is we're going to add additional park people to take care of it. Part of this is the acquisition of land. Part of this is the maintenance and the build out. And here's not dollar for dollar, step for step, but conceptually, here are the big numbers that can lead you to have confidence that I'm not going to have to, you personally are not going to have to pay for this system, because after some stuff I saw with the ditch petition and other things, I'm anticipating that question over and over again. So
Money, how much it's gonna cost to achieve the system and then
where's
maintain it.
and where's it coming from, and does at least have the explanation hold water more than just kind of a hypothetical? It's gotta hold some water.
Yeah. Now, on page 8, the opening lines, main anticipated funding mechanism, blah, blah, future developers, and then just a couple more. Will also pursue grants.
If I were coming in though, I would say, what grants, what developers? This is all very vague
Mhm.
to me, right? And so you have to give me some degree of concreteness to the plan. So a certain amount, if you assume a minimal amount of development and you assume the application of an economic zone, TIFs, JEDs, whatever, a mix, it would forecast spinning off this much revenue, and we're only relying on so much more. The park system would cost this much, and that, if you buy off on that the plan holds, right? I can't personally, my vote, would not be to be generalized over this. Can't have gone through all this effort to have a very generic answer of just economic development. Like I would expect more of an answer.
So when you read chapter 4 in the current strategic plan, and it's economic development, and there's a little model that says if you had X number of acres, it would generate X number of dollars over this time frame. Is that level of specificity does that make you comfortable?
Maybe it does for the strategic plan, but I don't know how much of those resources are devoted to the parks.
Well,
And
that's
I don't know what the parks, but generally, yeah, I think we have to get that level, maybe one click further, right? I don't even know if I would put it on a poster, but I want to be armed with that information and be able to believe it, right? Believe that we can actually produce what we say. And I think you're actually another resource, I think, because you built some of these and you kind of understand exactly like if we went it alone or we went with preservation parks, like what would the build out, are we talking, millions, tens of millions, multiple tens of millions, run staffs of 20, 10, 5, like what kind of facilities, equipment, like
Yeah.
that's what I'm looking for in big block numbers.
Yeah, cost estimating is really challenging because it changes every day, right? What you could build a shelter for 3 years ago is not what you can build it for now. We're building a really nice shelter and a playground for $2.5 million. Right, it's got a restroom attached to it, utilities, grading, all that. Big dollars.
Where are the dollars coming from?
You, township, residents pay our fees. We've got 2 levies, a land or basically an operating levy that pays salaries and development of parks and maintaining our parks and buying vehicles. And then we have an operation or a land and development strictly. So $2 you guys are paying.
My opinion, that's the wrong answer for this.
Right.
Wrong
We
answer.
don't have to-
We don't want that answer,
There's a
but
company-
that is the answer. That is not
I
this
would tell you that
answer.
grants, good luck getting grants that are gonna build a park system that you
But
have.
we said grants on to
Yeah, there's some.
no,
Yeah.
but
There's some, but ODNR's Nature Works it's $150,000.
you're making my point, right? Grants is good. It's free, it's low effort money, but it is not the answer to how you build a park system. It is how you do ancillary things. It's your answer. So
Yeah.
it cannot be in the first sentence of our board.
And it's
'Cause-
not, it's
Or
the main funding mechanism described on the board is what John's been talking about with the economic development. agreement.
Now I just need to believe it.
Developers
I don't believe it right
should
now.
build, they build sidewalks, they build the roads, the curbs, the sewer systems, right? When they build out a development.
Mhm,
You should build you also will build a park. You will
exactly.
build a trail system. You will add a playground. You will add a shelter. That'll be part of this. The
Mhm.
people who buy those lots are gonna pay for that.
And the shed, et cetera,
Yeah.
fund are gonna sustain that execution.
Right, Dublin does that. Cities do.
About building infrastructure aspirations of this is where we can see a park, this is the kind of park that we need, and when the opportunities come through the development community, then
To
that's when to execute.
Yeah.
Then that's when we cross that bridge when we come to it. To give a dollar amount, I think my concern is, okay, you believe this dollar amount today, but then you're gonna find out in 3 years, whoa, that wasn't the number they gave us.
That's okay.
You know, and I think
That's okay. I'm willing to make
I
an
don't
assumption.
want to pigeonhole
like,
anybody. And
I'm starting with a position, and I get it. I've researched this to the hilt of how development works, right? Our residents have not, right, and have not been educated on it. And to take them on that journey is not a simple exercise. And so I think that I have to be able to simplify it down. And if I have to say, listen, if we were to build this out today, it's going to cost X million. That number could change, but as a resident and a neighbor of these people, I have to be able to tell them that I believe the plan that we're putting, I believe it's executable in the way and shape, and I can't do that right now. And so if I have to make an assumption, I have to say, listen, today it would cost so many $1 million, and some of it is going to come from there, but there are going to be staff members. Jason's going to need more people. We're going to need parks rangers. We're going to need, and that does not come, it could come from some dollars spun off, right? But it's not infrastructure spend, that is operating spend. So I have to be able to understand. And if one of you do, please spell it out for me on a board, but I do not. And
So could Amortizee or a crossroads, create a board that has funding streams, that new growth pays for development. That's new growth pays for parks. At the top. Here are the funding streams. And I don't know if you could project like Dana did in chapter 4. Here's a model of what this acreage would provide over time with a tip, et cetera. And this percentage of that,
Acquisition, build, run.
yeah.
Yeah, we don't do economic development modeling.
Yep.
So that is something we could, talk with Dana
Yeah.
about and
Because
talk
they
with
still have
Marcy.
Morpsey under contract. So we could actually get that without having to pay for it.
Okay.
And understand, I personally am not even asking for the economic development. I can model the economic development. I can do that part. What I can't do is know how much the system costs to run. I don't know what the physical outlay is for doing.
But it's gonna cost different amounts over time.
Right.
as it develops.
That's why.
Low chart.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
But I don't even know in total, like build, cost, run. If we just made some estimates and just said, we're gonna do one park, you can make whatever time estimates you want. This is the cash outlay, regardless of where it comes from, to build this kind of park.
Let's say we know that growth is gonna occur in the southwest and southeast corners. You could model one quadrant. Because that's where growth is gonna occur first. Here are the houses that are gonna be built here. Here's the 300-acre business park. It's gonna bring this much income, this percentage goes to parks. Is that helpful?
No, that is not
That's
helpful
not
to me.
helpful?
No, that says where it comes from, and I know that. I need to know how much a park costs to build.
But I don't know if that matters in every scenario though, because if the developer's building it, why do we need to know how much
Maintain
it
it.
costs?
You, first of all, I don't know that they will maintain it.
Right.
That
Right?
would be
I don't
an
know what they
agreement.
maintain
That
it,
would
right?
be-
Like, because you're gonna be long gone by the time that happens, right? I need to know what it's going to cost, because I'm not gonna negotiate with the developer not knowing, here's a park. Your part of the deal is this. I need to know how much this costs to know how much I'm getting in return for the deal I'm gonna make. I have to be aware of everything I'm giving up and everything I'm getting to make this deal turn right. And as evidenced by the minutes of the last meeting, I was woefully shocked by how much the playground equipment cost across the street, right? Woefully shocked. So I obviously demonstrated that I am ignorant when it comes to the cost of this
So
equipment.
doesn't the industry have models? But here's the acreage, here's the stuff, here's what it costs to build and then run.
A prairie park. We're gonna put a prairie park. Prairie parks will cost this much millions of dollars. A pocket park will cost this much, even if we have to assume it. Let's just high, mid, low.
Yeah. In the consulting business, if you're doing this like all the time,
Yeah.
there might be models like that. We do a cost estimate based on what's on the plan. We know what
Yeah.
the playground costs, we know the shelter, we know what utilities, so we're really digging
Fine.
down deeper, not just,
Specific.
okay, we got a 100-acre site, it's gonna be 100,000 or $1 million to build out. We really drill down further, because you do need to know what you're gonna put in there. If you're doing a prairie park with some trails, it's gonna be relatively inexpensive. If you're doing ball diamonds, soccer fields, a shelter, restrooms, big parking lot, it's gonna be really expensive.
So I'm assuming that you've done this board experience with municipalities in the past. And Dan's really barking up the tree here about, hey, I wanna know how much this costs. Is that typical? Should we expect that? And what level of detail do people typically want?
Yeah, costs and when it's gonna get built. I think they're gonna look at plan too. Mostly, they'll have some NIMBYs like, I don't want a trail in my front yard. I don't want it in my backyard. It's great over there. Love it, not here. You'll get that somewhat. But
That's what.
so when people ask us, how are you paying for it? Well, we have 2 levies and you pitch in and we build with, the money that comes from the entire
So
county.
you use a 4-letter word.
But
Or 3-letter word.
yeah,
You.
we essentially.
That levy was approved by the voters. of the county.
Exactly,
No, I-
exactly.
Now, we can't do that because it won't fly.
So residents pay for your current park, right? They build it and they pay for the maintenance of it. That's how it's currently done.
indirectly.
No, I think getting developers to build your parks is great. I think cities like Dublin and New Albany, they do that. Maintenance of it, I'm not sure if that's how they do it, or do they hand it over to the city and now you maintain?
I think
That-
that there,
It's-
there's
there's revenue
revenue
streams.
streams that come from development that then pay for.
You wouldn't want them maintaining our park,
Right.
trust me.
Yeah.
You'd want,
That's my.
you'd want the
experience.
township
Something that
maintaining the
built and
township's
stuff.
park. Otherwise, you won't have much of a park.
Yeah. So I think your responses are just, we're gonna have a developer build this infrastructure when they build their homes and whatever, and then maintaining it will come from these other funds, and just spell it out that way.
So no, I hear people at meetings saying, what's this gonna cost? And if I sit and watch unobtrusively for a few minutes, it almost inevitably comes down to, well, the number is, they'll wedge it out of somebody. And it's pretty clear to me that they don't understand what that number means. $1,111,000, is that big or small? And they don't know. There are people that are really sharp and they can, really process quickly a number that you give them. So talking about costs, I like what you're setting up. Doesn't wade into that swamp. I think sometimes it's still too much in the shadows. I'd like to see a little more there, but I kind of wonder here. My experience is, if I'm going to sell somebody on parks here, there's got to be a balance. They need to hear from me, parks are valuable, and I need to be able to say it in a way that's believable. And I think we're getting to that. But at the same time, integrating that into one message that starts with, parks have a lot of value. Here are the kinds of values. This is the sort of thing that happens to your property value, that stuff that you get more money when you sell it, kind of thing. And here are ways that we can try to hold costs down, but here are some costs that we're looking at. In other words, come through a series of bullet points that start with, well, it's a great question. I think it's really important for us to have parks and value. And then, give them information, but don't expect that the information is going to be processed.
And I think we have like the page, you added a full page, because I haven't barked on how thick it is, but I like the page, right? I will. There's a full page on the value of parks, which I like. I like that page. I think that gets a piece at what you're thinking. So when you get a park, you get these things, right? So I think that for me, like the positive end of the sell is pretty good, right? Like, why would we want to have parks that answer the question we've got? Why would we want more? Like, I like what's on that page. It's just value is a function of cost and benefits, right? That's how it adds. And I think I know the benefits. I don't think we know the costs. And I think that you can't derive out the value. Or someone is, I'm going to have to basically say, you have to trust me.
So you don't want to say that,
Right?
right?
I don't want
to say, you have to trust me, or I'm going to tax you. But at the same time, I want to say, I don't know that I have all the information I need to answer your question well. However, here is a generalization.
scenario.
Here's the scenario.
That's fine.
Of how this might work. That emphasizes new growth pays for development. Here's what it might look in a quadrant. Here's what development would generate. If we use this percentage toward our park system, here's what it would
A
do.
conservative estimate shows that it's totally
Yes.
feasible and the whole machine works.
And I could see that, Molly, on a single board.
Absolutely. It's gotta be.
And it would be great if a MORPC could sign off on something like that as the subject matter experts. And Dana may help us get there. Of course, the challenge here is timing.
Right.
But that might, what the appetite. a little bit.
It's the additional board that's missing. And I think if you put that board in, now we have a successful meeting.
Mhm.
The money board.
The money board. I'm happy to staff the money board. I just have to have the money.
Can I ask just quickly, and then I'll never ask again, what does Morrissey stand for?
Mid-Ohio planning, regional
I'm
planning.
sorry, Mid-Ohio Regional Planning
Commission.
Commission. Thank you.
You know, when you build out a development, you set aside how much, what percentage is gonna be open space? What's percentage is gonna be, you know, how many lots and the quantity? Are you setting aside, we want X% to be dedicated for a park
We
development,
haven't
like,
We haven't got there.
yeah.
That'll be part of the seated discussion. For example, with Columbus and New Albany, where we will say, here's the percentage of income we want to come to Harlan Township. Then Harlan Township's gonna have to say, here's what's gonna go to the parks, or the fire department, or to.
Tons of goodies.
So there's a point where we don't have the information, so we'll give you a generic model. Here's how the funding stream is developed and how it feeds into parks.
And we do know how much our own park costs, right? We know the resources we have deployed. We know about what it costs, right? So we're not sitting without any information. And we know what an uplift to our current park would cost. So I think like I could start to if I had some base numbers, I could start to work my way there. But I know we also do maintenance in the same department, which is not part of a park. So I don't know how much really the park costs.
I'd love to know.
Well, we have a separate park budget. Compared
We
to
do.
just
So we-
maintenance, so I mean, it has its own
So that's
entity in itself.
that is a nugget to
We could-
start with.
We can pull out of it. I've personally been trying to dive into the last 2 years to get a better handle of what and why.
Or if you wanted to get more concrete, you could go to the city of Westerville or some entity that you have, pick out a park. And say, how much did it cost you to build it? How much does it cost you to maintain it?
Yeah, and I could give you one of our recent parks that we built out and
So that's a
and
very
it's gonna be
concrete-
it's $2 million development, for all infrastructure.
Yes, that would be a nice other part of that.
Yeah, we could like a kind of a comparable.
Yeah.
But we have in our plan, right? We have 3, I think, different cases, right? We have a broad open walking park, right? As I heard you say, that's an inexpensive build. What does that cost? We have a pocket park, which are probably similarly equipped and fall in a range. And then we have the central park enhancement, and that's going to fall into I think we can break it into some pieces and just get some numbers to it. And I think we can asterisk it, we can say illustrative, we can we can wrap it in whatever wrapper we need. But
And like John said, I think if we would ask the Westerville, which is a large city, but even like a Genoa Township, they're built out. And they got public parks everywhere. Preservation has ideas, but you're more of a open rural park setting.
Right.
Or like an Orange Township, that's almost built out. They did all this 20-some years ago.
Mhm.
Might be worth reaching out to some of them and say, hey, can you just give us some starting points maybe?
But I'm happy I didn't want to do that outside the confines of this group, start reaching out to, especially Westerville, without any green light or going through a consultant. But I think that's however the consultants would figure out to get to the right number.
I think you've identified a legitimate need. I don't know that you're gonna be satisfied with the detail that's accomplished. But it will help people, I think.
I've got great expectations of our consultants, that they'll do a fantastic job coming up with the commensurate amount of detail.
Okay, we can.
You'll
definitely
rise to the occasion, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Honestly,
Molly's out of here, right? She's already pulling her car into Cleveland State University. So bring it on, right? Time to earn the money. Right? As long as it hangs together,
Mhm.
I'll be good. And I don't think you have to be overly concerned. My personal expectation is don't be overly concerned about how much economic development is required. I think that is an easy part of this discussion. It's focused on how much do the parks cost to build, maintain, land acquisition, building it, and running it. That's I'm woefully inequipped. I'm gonna be shocked, I'm sure. Because I think we're all gonna be shocked as to how much it's going to, just the magnitude of the number. But I think we can get there. I think it's all doable.
So we're asking for a money board and someone's gonna ask more for their help,
Morpsey,
Mhm.
Morpsey.
I didn't mean, did I say more?
you said Morpsey.
I didn't mean Morpsey. I meant,
Oh, man.
That's
Another acronym, here it comes.
I didn't mean Morpsey. I meant, no, what's the economic development team that works with Delaware County to provide that numbers?
Montrose Group?
Montrose Group, that's who.
Look at that. See, there's that rising to the equation right there.
I was like, Morpsey.
Morpsey, yeah. See, you were going
I
with
mean,
it. You were very
but-
consultant on that. You're like, all right.
They might, something or another, I haven't talked to them much about parks, so I'm
I'll
like.
figure
maybe
it out.
Some research, that I don't know right now,
What are you talking?
but we kept, yeah,
Yeah, Montrose.
Roll with it.
I think Montrose Group should be able to. Look it up. And they're under contract,
Mm,
retainer with.
okay.
With who?
Delaware County. So we don't have to pay for it.
Okay, Montrose Group, a consulting firm that might be able to provide some economic
Yeah.
insight.
Mhm.
Cross out Morpsey, and I just.
Yeah.
But still, I don't know how much they know about park stuff too, like.
But
She's gotta have
they would
parks,
have,
so
they would really, I mean, I see them coming in as like saying how much, what's the dollar amount we would get from economic agreements
Right.
in this
What does that really
area,
look like?
and this is how much we could siphon off to fund
Mhm.
parks, but you're right, I mean, they wouldn't have information on parks costs,
Yeah.
no. Maybe, we can see, but.
Third zoning and it's built out.
Mhm.
And would this be the time to say that currently 1% or 2% of our budget goes to maintaining our park? We feel like we need to bump that up to 3% over the
Mm.
next 10 years, or something like that.
3% of the total build cost tends to be the typical run. Sure, rule of thumb works.
Does Crossroads have an opinion about that? What percentage of economic dollars go to park maintenance and execution?
I would know that off the top of my head. I think it's different,
Is that
different
the other way?
developers. It's certainly not, right? Well, in terms of like parks, it depends on your zoning code too, right? Of like how
Yeah.
much open space. But I mean, every developer is different in how they want to play and like work with you on that. So.
See, I would take the
have an
developer
average
out of it. I would just say,
What-
we are doing this on our own. We're building it. We're going to fund and build this on our own. How much is it going to cost?
I totally agree with, I mean, we can have, I don't know if I don't know if I'm aligned with like that, because we know that's not gonna be the case in that sense. I don't wanna give them sticker shock like, well, why are we even here? We're not gonna be able to do that ever, but.
No, no,
I
no.
think, like, given the
No, that's just,
framework.
that's not the message. That's just the internal facts we need to build it up, right? If I'm going to negotiate an economic development deal with a given developer, I can't just go in and just go, I don't want to just build that. Like, they might do it. You have to understand what things cost. And so that's along with the other stuff, right? Because parks isn't going to be the only thing on the township's agenda. There's going to be other pieces that you have to understand what it costs before you strike that deal. And that's what I'm asking is we built a plan.
Mhm.
What does the plan cost? Not just saying, I have a rich uncle and he's going to pay for it. That's not going to fly. It's what does it cost?
Yeah.
I mean, that is what you're doing, right? You're saying economic development somewhere else is going to ultimately pay for this. I have a rich uncle. Don't worry about it. It'll pay for it.
Right. This says it's free. We got developers, we got grants. It doesn't mention anything about any liability or responsibility on the township or the residents.
Before I can make the case that it will not cost the residents anything, because if you go to Westerville, they will tell you that parks are here's what parks cost, and our density pays for those parks because we get tax revenue from that high density. That can't be the case, right? I have to be able to work those numbers roughly through. that says, I don't know whether 25 square miles can posit enough economic development to pay for the parks plan that we've spun up, because we built this as a dream exercise, right? What we would like. Now we have to size it with what our economic development can afford. And we have to just make sure those match up. And I'm asking for that. Line it up for me.
Okay,
I mean, is that too big of an ask?
I think,
I should be
no,
looking here, right?
I mean.
You're dead to me.
I think some of this, like timing wise, it will really depend, like what is
Yeah.
Montrose Group's availability? I don't know that.
And again, just making sure that you're satisfied with with like what we come up with in that certain amount of time, right? Cause I like the quadrant idea, I like okay, this is the build out, this is what it could look like, but that doesn't sound like that's really getting to the nooks and crannies of like what you really want on that too, so. I mean, I think we can definitely reach out to the resources and do what we can in that, and I think we can, I like the idea of the money board and saying like, okay, here's typically what a standard deal looks like with a developer, you know, when it comes to these kinds of stacks. I do understand, like, let's let the residents know how expensive a park actually is, right? So that we can say, yeah, we're gonna need a lot of different mechanisms to make this happen, but this is our dream, and as development comes and depending on the market and how build out happens, this is our intention and this is what we're looking to achieve, you know.
And I won't harp on this anymore, except for this one thing. All you have to do, I passed 23 no data centers here signs on the way to this meeting, right? These people are going to say, your parks are going to require data centers be built in my township. I guarantee you,
Yes, he's right.
they're going to, it's going to happen, right? Those people are going to come. And what I have to be able to say is, no, maybe, but not necessarily. There's a lot of different economic development, right? There's a lot of economic development. Let's take away where it comes from and let's have the discussion of what it's going to cost. This is what the park system is going to cost. Now let's take on that understanding and build up what some development could look like. And let me put those pieces together in 5 minutes or less, right? I have to be able to tell that story. It's
So, again, I would go back to the quadrant. We're gonna master plan a 300-acre business park in that quadrant. That's gonna generate X number of dollars for the parks in that quadrant. We should be able to get some scenario that's concrete out of those numbers over time. I wouldn't try to do the whole township. I would try to do specific. Here's an example. Simpler the better. Doesn't mean we need a data center.
Okay. So we're talking developers, we're talking grants. Eventually, don't you think we have to pony up for continuing
No.
maintenance?
Never.
No. There's going to be a continual stream
yes.
from this
That's right.
industrial park, whatever.
The economic
Business park.
tools that will be put in place.
Yeah,
Think of a cloud over these areas,
yeah,
generate income over time.
okay. Okay,
You know,
so
which is a third.
it's kind of a levy to the business community.
It is.
From the
Development.
It's a tax on the development.
All right.
But only certain types of development, not residential.
That's right.
No, you can't
You can
test
do it.
residential
You can-
development. And the township, if we have home rule, can make that happen. So there may be those opportunities. But then you use an NCA, you charge an NCA fee to generate what your TIF might not.
And by the way, my comments and questions, I believe this can happen 100%. I know it to be true. I just cannot explain it to my wife, more or less a neighbor, right? And I need to be able to intuitively get through it to be able to explain it to my wife first. And then I can hit up some neighbors.
And dumb it down a lot.
And it's going to get dumbed up, but it's got to be real. It can't be in the clouds. It's got to be a real scenario.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And you, Kelsey, are going to contact Montrose, is that?
I would probably go through the county first, since that's the,
Daniel,
Yep.
Do you have?
I do, yep.
I reach out to Dana and say, on behalf of township.
Mhm.
And if you want me to, I know the people at Westerville Parks, I know the people at Powell Park. I mean, I can get the numbers. I just did not want to do that around you. Like
I think 2 or 3 concrete examples of 2 or 3 different kinds of parks from those communities. How much did it cost you to build it? How much does it cost you to maintain?
if the funding mechanisms are way dramatically different than what we're going to have here. That's the mental challenge.
And these economic tools are more recent developments. They may not have used this. I guarantee you Westerville, they just pass a lot.
They're right.
Mhm.
They've got the base and the density to be able to do it. We couldn't, there's no way we could do that.
Yeah.
Right, there's no way.
So you're gonna reach out to a couple of them?
If that would be helpful,
Yeah,
if that would be helpful, I'm happy. I know I could get it. I just didn't want to.
Copy us on whatever you learn.
Sure.
That'd be great. So reach out to Orange Township.
Yeah, township,
Mhm.
municipality,
Yep,
preservation
I'll give you a
parks.
preserve.
That'd be great.
Love it.
Okay.
And I think that information on that board would
Mhm.
be helpful.
I think it will be. How fast, that's my other, like how fast, but how it pays for is going to be the number one question, I think.
Mhm.
My only other feedback is let's get the new logo.
Municipality.
Oh, you have a new.
Yep.
one.
Yes, we have a new logo, so we should put the new logo on the front of the. new-
Please send it to me.
New brand.
And one clarification, who's Dana?
Dana McDaniel is the Economic Development Director in Howard County.
Dana
Soon to be replaced, but currently.
McDaniel.
Yep.
Thank you.
He took it on as an interim general.
Okay, well then,
See the new brand.
And then Jason's
Yeah,
going to
same.
get the current numbers for our parks budget.
yes. The next thing I really want to talk about was the public meeting, but I feel like perhaps that's premature now. that
Perhaps.
we're- I'm just not
terms of
sure what the
locking down
timeline
the
will be
thinking
for,
dates.
Date?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dates.
yeah, we can do
If
hypothetical.
we
Yeah,
accomplish
let's
this,
do some
then let's do
hypotheticals.
that.
Sure.
If we will do it, right?
Put some pressure on us.
We'll get we're just talking, you got 90% of it done. You just
Yeah.
need 10%.
Jump into that. Can I make comment on the last page of the boards?
Yes,
That I don't think we should mention that we receive direct product from a certain township
should we just say a donation?
because there's no legal giving
Okay,
being public, you know what I'm saying?
Mm. Mhm.
So I think just open to
It's receiving a
donations of some
donation.
sort of,
is it okay
Keep
to
it
say
vague.
donation, or how would you like me to say it?
well, I think donations are right. It's just-
Okay.
I know in a public entity of sort, things need to be very documented.
Sure,
In this case, it did not.
okay,
So I don't wanna open up a door of outside eyes asking
Mhm.
questions.
yeah,
If the township is receiving a donation.
Something like
Take
that.
out.
Okay.
And maybe not even the specific items, just that we're.
Oh,
Cause you've got a use case here, right? This is just a use case of where stuff can
Mhm.
come from. Just make it.
What about a
Donated
mention
goods.
of the Delaware County Foundation accounts that we've set up? I mean, that is a donation, a way to receive donation.
that would be great. Because the fees on those 2 accounts are gonna eliminate the account's existence if we don't get some funds up there.
$250 a year.
But so those, we're only starting with $500 each. And we're paying fees, so. I think if we could put that in here somehow, that'd be great. You can support the parks by.
Should be.
Specific
Mm,
fund.
www.
Well, I mean, even another entity could go through them to us.
One thing would be that, yeah. Where it comes down to other entities is the public money trail. And that is enough. Yelena can't give us money. Legal. We could apply for a grant through Galena or reservations. Cause it's an open try. for them to just give us money, they're everywhere in the county go, well, what about me? You know what I'm saying? It gets real,
This is just stuff.
it's real thick, real
You
quick.
buy it for $1, you're done with it. But
Right.
cross it off the list.
Shows up.
Right.
Just up.
That's why I wanted to kind of just eliminate that one,
It's a good.
because it was kind of a. Thank you, appreciate it.
And what is this fund that people could contribute?
Delaware County Found.
So basically you can make a donation to Harlem Township Parks through the Delaware County.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
That should be a board in the meeting.
Almost,
Give now.
yeah.
We have
Right.
two accounts.
Have you been thinking about your,
One that shows just to the township, so that it can be used for a variety of purposes. And then there's one specifically.
I see. Okay.
But just a great job on
Thank you.
it. Fantastic.
okay, let's do some hypothetical dates. So it's July 14th. Let's say hypothetically, in the fastest case scenario,
it's 14.
Dana could get us information. What do we think, 2 weeks?
2 weeks, yeah, maybe 3 weeks.
So that would be the 28th. And then we would want to advertise this probably with the email list, maybe some signs at the park. I'm not sure your newsletter schedule, so maybe that quarterly newsletter's already gone out.
They can do the email blast anytime, can't they? They
Yeah.
can send it out.
Yeah, so
Interested in parks, got kids, show up,
yeah, how many
Bring
bring cash.
bring cash. So how much advertisement time would we want if we have all of our information by the 28th?
I think if you do it at the right time, you know, you don't do it during the middle of the workday, we do it strategic. I think you can give it a week or two to summertime.
So, did we give any thought to doing this on Harlem Township Day? When everybody's coming to the park,
And when is that?
on the 15th of August, 15th.
The timing is pretty magical.
Built in.
Yeah,
Built in.
yeah.
We,
Yeah.
so we set up a tent with that's shaded,
Mhm.
with easels. And we get all these people walking through there. We still advertise it.
Mhm.
We say, we're gonna have a tent at Harlem Township Days.
Come learn about the
Come learn
park.
about our parks.
Harlem Township Days, is in there's more than one, it's not just 15.
No, it's
It'll be just
one
day.
Just one
I
day.
call it days.
I know.
Harlem Township Day.
The experience is so fun, it seems like days.
It's on the
It
15th.
started out as
Okay.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that went for several years, and then we ran into COVID and nobody came.
It's over days.
So we decided
Day.
we would just.
It's a big day.
we'd
Day.
throttle
Big
down
day.
this-
You just spell it DAC.
Yeah.
Days. Yeah, you're in the days before you get out.
Harlem Township Days, we all know it.
Yeah, one day.
We saw you there last year.
Don't recall.
You don't recall?
By the 15th.
That would be sweet.
I love that idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that too.
yeah.
The thing is,
It's
it takes,
Screams Park.
Yeah, you'll get a great.
It's
it
Days in here.
it takes volunteers to man the tent,
No problem.
Mhm.
I think you,
which takes away from the volunteer pool to run the event,
Mhm.
because it's often the same people.
I volunteer to be on the tent. There's one that you didn't.
So, not to quibble too much, but Harlem Township has never had a tent at Harlem Township Day or days. It's always been Harlem Township Heritage. There's been, other, or, Civic Association, Garden Club, et cetera, we'll have up tents to this sort of stuff. But,
What's the philosophical area?
we would love, under our philosophy, to include Harlem Township as part of this. It would be a wonderful addition.
Why have we resisted in the past?
I don't know, I think it is a lot of as Ed was saying, it takes a lot of energy to man a tent.
Does the township pay for the tent? Do we pay to be there?
I am trying to make that happen as we speak. And I've run into problems, but I think I do have a tent. And we should talk about maybe thinking about how big or how many, go from 1 to 2, go from 20 to 30 to.
So the details I'm not worried about.
Right, exactly.
but Can we be there?
Yes,
Yes, we can. It's really the Harlem Township Parks Commission's tent.
yes,
We'll bring our own tent.
I,
but also
Tent I can lend you.
communication,
hmm,
the communication department. A lot of things that could be there out of Harlem Township.
What I'm hearing is vehement, yes, not vehement,
but I
no.
wanna be, this
Yes.
should be all about the parks. I don't want it to be confused with anything else.
I agree.
Parks. This is all about this thing.
Come see us at the Harlem Township Days and learn about the parks
Yeah.
plan.
I can't imagine there would be opposition.
Well, I can imagine that, but
Who would oppose? Who?
no, we're not going to get
Okay,
into.
we don't need to.
This is a small township and we don't do that.
Let's not try to solve that. Okay, this is what would be proposed, that's. Harlem
It'd be on Harlem
Township
Township Days.
Parks Commission has a tent at Harlem Township Days. To execute our plan.
Love that proposal.
Okay. And let's make it happen, let's get the yes.
How many boards do you have?
Currently, there's 9.
9.
Big
Good
tent.
tent.
Yeah, in
Maybe
an
do that.
outdoor environment, you definitely would want one person at each, because libraries will, those things will just fly.
Yeah.
I mean, you do need a person standing there.
Do you envision a closed tent or just an on?
I think if it's nice weather, you
And
have to
the
be wide
weather.
open.
Yeah,
Right?
that way people see what's
Okay,
there
yeah.
and they're enticed to go look at these
It
tents.
should be, near the parking lot where you're walking, and so maybe the first thing you see is kind of, you enter.
Or now we're asking for.
Well, yeah, I don't know what it looks like, but you don't want to be back in the corner. If you're way back in the corner, or people aren't gonna be that.
I don't wanna be where the reenactment was.
Yeah.
They fire the cannon every once in a
That
while.
was the only.
We do,
Alright.
they have a cannon.
I love that.
That's
That's
through execution, but just conceptually, I think. that's what
Yeah.
we should do.
That's that would
Okay.
be ideal for sure.
So, I think 3 sides wide open would be, I will talk with Davidson about that.
Davidson.
And rentals.
Does something under the awning? That awning space, is there something under there normally for Harlem Township Days? The pavilion, the,
People eat.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh,
yes,
the-
yes.
Yeah, they grab their food.
senior citizen.
I never have gotten that back. I walked the front part. I never gotten back there. Okay.
Mm.
I am not technically on the layout committee. But
So you're gonna check with this company Davidson regarding
like-
tent rental?
she is the committee. So
I don't wanna get bogged down. with it.
this gets kind of dicey.
Do we wanna do a rain date? Just see. Obviously, we have our preferred.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is ideal.
If this
I think
is
we should
ideal,
really put
We would be
money
going
into
to the church.
Yep.
We'd be asking the church to use their space on a Saturday
The
morning.
following, yeah, the following.
Either the 22nd or the 29th. We would go to the church. too. And they're building a new multi-purpose building.
Are they?
Yes.
My question is. How many people do we think are gonna come to just a special meeting of parks?
I think.
We had a lot of people.
You might be
Yeah.
surprised, I think. I think there are a lot of parents that are really interested in parks for their kids. That if you put it at the right time,
Mhm.
when they could actually show they're not working, I think you'd be surprised how many people you might get.
If it's at the church.
That's my question, the Heritage Days, come on, we're here to explore now. Do we develop past that? Or if that's a dud? Do we say, hey, church, we would have a meeting and 6 of us are hanging out?
Hmm.
Is my concern.
You could have it.
But I think you'll get some people. But, you know, it'll be busy from 5 to 6 and then it'll fizzle out. But I think having a grand gate is smart. We put it out, once we present this publicly in an open house or however format, then it's out on our website and gives people another month to comment on it, so they can just read it, maybe a little more detail, think about it, send emails or. So that's helpful.
Agree with that. Okay,
So getting this all up on the website is important.
I would have to.
And probably it would launch the same day that the days, Harlem Township days, okay, it's gonna go up on the web. And that gives people an opportunity to provide feedback.
I did
So-
leave
Like, well,
some spaces on these boards for just placeholders for a QR code that would take people
Right.
to the plan.
Mhm.
So we could use that. We would just need to make sure that it's actually up,
Yeah.
posted, so I could,
The link
Make the
Lindsay
codes.
is our contact person for questions, so
And
Lindsay or Ashley.
You might wanna do a little FAQ, right? Either put it on the website, could be something to attribute to all the 9 plan owners, you know, the board people. Hey, when you get asked about the cost or the timing, or how does TIF work, what is a TIF, how does it work?
Yep.
You know, what are those things that
People
folks are gonna
answer the
follow?
questions up
Yeah,
in front.
exactly. Yeah.
I'll reach out to the church and just say, do you have 22 or 29 free at 9 AM for a couple hours on Saturday?
Probably 29.
29. Okay, 29. I'll ask for 29 and I'll say, hey, you know, chances are we're not gonna need it, but if you got it.
Mhm.
And then I think we should advertise and put out a couple emails separated from Harlem Township Days. In other words,
Mhm.
come see us, we will be here, come see us at, but like to really push the fact that, you know, for the people who might not come to Harlem Township Days that are interested in the parks, they show and everybody wins.
So just, Dave, you're going to be the POC for getting us that space at Highland Township Days, or do we need to reach out to person X to talk about?
I will bring this to the board this afternoon. Start getting their input on it, and I will start the wheels turning to order a tent through Davidson and Meadows.
Okay,
All we need is the tent, some easels and your boards, right?
And people,
and people.
And people,
Yeah.
Where do the easels come?
we have these,
You've got all that
we
stuff.
got that.
Okay,
We got, sometimes we'll have, we do little comment cards, just 8x11, you know. Just say, please provide a comment, look, you know, on this plan, and they can write it into, and that's, we'll get 50 of those or so, that people say, I love this or don't, or. whatever.
or
So
we're
that
gonna
could be
leave
something.
behind, something that has the key facts, like the QR code, but on a sheet of paper, we can give it with people, they can take the code with them. Here, you know, if you wanna read up on it more,
Mhm.
love your support,
Mhm.
provide comment.
Yep.
Sign-in sheet, can be helpful for grants. Maybe, you know, I don't know, I'm gonna think that through, if it's helpful in this type of township-wide plan versus a specific project like a shelter or playground or.
People definitely, I think we're gonna need more than one tent, cause I'm thinking about like, what is it, that square tent? And if we have 9 boards, plus we have likely a table that has the sign-in sheets and all of these flyers and things. So I wanna be cognizant of that too, that we have enough space, or else we're just gonna be like around the tent, I guess.
They can, typically you put them around the perimeter of the room, right?
Right.
But in an outdoor environment, you might wanna put them all in the middle of the room so people can go outwards. and
Yeah.
Kind of work their way around the
A progression.
perimeter.
Facing out.
Yeah, no, I
facing
agree,
out.
but even so, 9 of those
Yeah.
babies, still
Takes
gonna
up
be a
lot
big
of space.
circle.
Just the number.
10 of those babies with money back, with the money board. I don't know.
what minimum space do you need? What about this room?
This room will be fine, I think.
Like fake news, can we go see it? Everyone just on.
Probably just put it
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
People can grab.
Yeah.
I know you
No,
want
no,
to
it's
search
not
the sheet,
size.
eliminate a board.
The size.
Yeah.
Or send it out to people as part of it.
There's more about
He's
this
checking
than
it.
behind it.
I can't.
That takes
So-
down to 8
How
Yeah.
big?
plus the money, so now we're back to 9.
20 by 30.
By 40.
But I'm thinking if we can get rid of 3 of them.
Frame tent is not.
Yeah,
that much
I-
smaller than this room.
I think we can probably figure out the
This depth.
space.
So just so for costs,
Yeah.
Dave, does it cost to reserve space at Harlem Township Days? No. Okay, but we will have to pay for the tent.
Yes.
And can that come from the parks budget?
I'm sure it can.
So my,
I'll-
I
I'll
don't
find
need
out.
to. Tomorrow night is a trustee meeting, it's the last trustee meeting before Harlem Township Days. And so if we need a resolution. My question is, do we need a resolution?
It depends on the cost of the tent.
So. We're almost, my agenda was due by noon today.
How much does a tent cost?
Yeah, 20 by 30, that laid the groundwork for Harlem Township to rent is $400. The sides are, what, 25, 50.
Oh, I can't,
We
it
should
just
be
seems
fine.
like we
We'll be
should be
fine.
fine. We did, but we,
All that's under 2,500.
okay, we're good.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
I didn't need to ask.
I
for-
have already from them the W9
Mhm.
and the,
Yeah.
because
I'll talk to Lisa.
certificate of no
I'll talk to Lisa, and if we gotta shake something out, and I gotta use a credit card or something like that separate, I mean, whatever.
So, long discussion, we won't go into.
Yep, I'm sure we can make it happen.
So it'll be simply an informational thing, but the park commission
Jason's
is
gonna
going
be
to
there
set
tomorrow,
up
man.
at Harlem. Okay. No resolutions, no motion or this, anything.
I do.
And now I have 8 more volunteers to help me get the tents on the floor. Isn't wonderful?
A tent,
And
set up a tent.
tell the
Tents.
if we don't get a spot, the grass will cut.
Okay.
Ooh.
So, now rental is gonna include setup, no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure, like, thanks, Davidson.
Depends on how I read the contract. Our septuagenarians and our octogenarians out there setting up tents.
Okay, well, that sounds like a good plan.
I think it's a good start, and we'll see what we get out of it.
And
See
we're
what we got.
in the park.
And we're in the park.
That's right, that is the
That's
point,
we
it
loved
doesn't
it.
get any better,
We need to pray for good weather.
that's,
Yeah.
that starts immediately.
August. It's gonna be hot and sweaty.
I can deal with hot and sweaty, hail,
Yeah,
high winds.
yeah. With those boards. Lawsuit. Who can I get the new branding from?
Lindsay or Ashley?
Okay.
So you can talk to Ashley after this meeting. You probably stop out on boards. In the corner. Yeah.
And like shaded, they put them in the corner on all of them.
Okay, great. What's next?
That was it,
That's all-
that was
that's it.
my, that was my feedback,
That's all we need.
one item.
You got easels.
Mhm.
Do we need tables?
I think if we want to do a sign-in sheet, we need a table.
Okay,
We have something in the shed.
no. Right. Those are
We're gonna
already
pass
all-
out commemorative coins.
That's, I was headed, and I'm like, take that from 250 to like 500, and I'm gonna make them,
We'll give you a coin if you look at our boards and fill out our sheet.
you get a challenge coin, and it's going to say parks on the back.
Maybe do 1,000.
I guess
That
I missed
if
all
somebody's
that.
standing there and they're saying, "Hey, you want a coin? Come on in."
Come on in, listen to the story, support the mission.
I like it.
Yeah.
Bribery.
You have a source for commemorative coins.
I literally last night was, or yesterday was at a place and they were printing them, and I was thinking about them for other purposes, but this purpose probably is a better purpose.
And how's that being paid for? You're calling in favors?
Free,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh.
He prints 250,000 of
I
them.
didn't know what the costs
Like,
are, like how much it
250,000 a year. This is
I feel
great.
like everybody should know.
Should know what the cost.
Everybody should
This
know
is
what the whole cost
born
is.
by an individual.
Free, I don't know if I can sell that, I don't know if I buy it.
You can always sell free. It just better be free. You better never try and reverse charge in this township or you're in trouble.
Yep.
Look at you come at me. I love it. I love it. Yes.
I was just hearing the same language, I was
Let's
like,
go.
what? Let's go.
Free. Do it. Love it.
Is that it with that?
Yes, 1,000 coins.
That's awesome though, what a good hookup.
Boy,
This is a good guy to know.
18 minutes left.
Can you believe it?
What do you got? What's next?
I was just giving the floor to them. I know Dan had some information he wanted to bring up. I don't know if he still wants to or not.
I do. But
And,
make sure we're done.
Whatever else we wanna discuss about.
You just have a very brief update on the conversation we had with the engineers concerning flooding, just the Reader's Digest.
John, myself and Ed met with a consulting group called Cold Water Consultants or something like that. They're hydraulic engineers about our water issues. And they're going to, basically come up with some ideas, some scopes of work that might help us with our water concerns as far as continue to push the county petition as flow would work. Maybe mitigating some kind of wetland over here to help slow water from getting over there, depending on all kinds of engineering needs and studies, but I want to talk about using grants to try to pay for things which they can help with and support, and basically giving us a third opinion on how we can try to mitigate some of all this water problems.
They felt comfortable bringing up some options.
Yes,
They were not in the you are doomed.
No, they're actually really, this is what they actually like to do. They're both engineers that kind of left corporate because of the dark clouds. The office space right here out of Glen and also Lorraine up there by Lake Erie. But they're gonna put some things together and bring it to the August meeting to present the board and us as well about what they think we might be able to do, including funding. And if we want to move forward with that, I'll provide that, because if we did wetlands and whatnot, it all depends on soil types and can we, high water tables and everything around here. So they're gonna combine some plans. Who I actually reached out to see how things were going. And a quick note, their thought is creating a wetland concept, the estimate for the open area over here. Getting some cost, concepts through the Ohio EPA. Through Plan for Watershed, which qualifies for grants, Franklin Soil Water Condition, other ones, and also a grant possibly through the EPA. That could max up to $350,000. That could help support all of it to work, but then also. On piggyback on that, I spoke with Delaware County again about how they said they are willing to help us with some water mitigation issues, but not until probably this winter when their busy season ends. But Brett was on good rapport that with this engineering firm, if we go with them and the county, all working together in different avenues to try to relieve what we have going on. And ultimately still pushing the ditch petition. But it might be a softer sale. If we're gonna do all this, to try to help that.
Short-term problem, long-term problem. I love it.
And then the playground flooding, which we walked over there, I gotta do some exploratory on drainage to see if they're even there working. But trying to figure something out with that, which is a whole other. Our playground sits in a bowl.
So you left the conversation feeling positive, like we
Very.
have options.
Very, yeah.
That's awesome.
And like I said, they're coming to the August board meeting to to present what their scopes might be, what they could provide.
That is
And then
awesome.
I want in conjunction with everybody that if that's the route we go, then we all get together as the county, them, us, trustees, let's make things better.
August trustee meeting.
Yes, their Coldwater's gonna be coming too.
Meeting after this.
Now, if they can get it together, I will invite them to our meeting, which will be
The week
the week
before.
before, whatever the hell shakes out.
They do, we have two different problems, the problem on this side of the street and the problem on that side of the street. And so that's a reality that we've got to deal with, but there were potential shorter term solutions that might provide.
And I did also talk with Dave Jackson about the owner of the field to the north. And he really didn't have much come back on say of would they be willing to participate or not. But I think he's in direct conflict because he farms it. But that might be a conversation we, as a committee of the board, might want to have with the property owners.
Is Dave recommending that?
He really didn't say. He kind of went a different route and I didn't want to ruffle feathers too much. But I mentioned, is it possible to be purchased?
Why wouldn't?
Well, exactly. I think we need to. And the Coldwater had mentioned there's grant funding out there that might help us with that if we wanted to
Mhm.
maybe look into. Cause that's the headwaters of it all.
Yeah.
Well, part of it.
Like 75%.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
So the petition will proceed, on a parallel track or, John?
Yes.
Okay, so at the next,
Don't adopt that.
at the next trustee meeting, there'll be a vote on that? What?
If that's the next step. I'm not certain. Is that the next step? I would wait for Jason.
I mean, my question is, do we? Coldwater and the county have both said the ultimate resolve is the petition because it drains the positive drainage.
So that
So
can't
do we
stop.
just move that forward and go with it, get it submitted and let them start, because that's a lengthy process.
Mm-hmm.
This remedy out here, if anything, is at least a year or two,
Mm-hmm.
just because most of these grants and funding don't reopen until next March through July.
But in
That's-
any case, would be more immediate than the petition
Correct.
Yes.
of results.
And if the petition follows through, I mean, that's.
And the engineers should be able to design the solution to be complementary to
Complementary.
a dish petition if
Yeah.
it were successful. So
Yes.
it's not like one is a throwaway. They add together if the
Well,
petition is successful.
as writing from them today, it will be important to continue to ask the county to do the ditch maintenance project so that we have positive drainage. So I think that'll be a heavier sale if we're saying we're investing on our end. To relieve the beginning issues to help the drainage continue.
Yep.
Now, whether that gets through the county and the public, that's yet to be seen.
But we're solving our parks problem.
Do we anticipate that Coldwater will come to us and say, we're recommending to the trustees that they acquire the Worm property? That kind of becomes our.
I'm not certain, but she did make that comment that day.
Because that would be helpful for all the trustees to hear, and
Right.
that would give us impetus to engage.
I mean, I can,
But you can put that plug in there.
yeah, I can definitely ask, because what I asked her was just, so I had follow up for tomorrow.
Yeah.
To discuss and. Well, what I got back was they need more time, but they're actually working on the scope to come up with a plan, which is wetlands. And then-
So they're gonna
and the
drill
first
holes
step.
out here and it works.
So it'll be a concept on what they think can help. Then if we move that concept forward, then we'll yet to be determined if it will help.
Right.
Cause you got to do soil tests and you can't hold water. There's no wetlands. And the water tables around here are so high that if you create a wetland, you're just creating a shallow pond.
We can say we've
But you've
we've
got-
investigated every alternative,
Mhm.
right? Now we can really be
And the other comment was, pond and a pump. Fill it and pump it. Which is a whole other. Which is cool.
I call it a watering system for the park.
Could be. Could be.
Pump it to Dunkin'.
It's all option.
But
It,
like you would push, it's an option, it's a conversation.
we can go to our neighbors
These
and
are-
we can
these
say,
are-
we've explored every
These are-
possible option and we've drawn the logical conclusion and we can fill in the blank and
And
support
I
it.
like that these people are
That's
officers
great.
right out of Galena, they're local,
Right
she
here.
lives on Harlem Road as the owner. They actually have valuable interest in the area, they know, you're not talking to a firm in St. Louis.
They're
It's
an
like,
air-
how much range you get last week?
They're our neighbor too.
Right. And I think they really sold that in our conversation, that's. Like, cause I Googled them and that's what I found was right here in Galena, so I can't do better than that.
Cold water,
Yeah.
which is different than Blackwater. They would take the park
Yeah.
by force.
Yeah.
We use cold water.
Freudian.
Okay.
Okay.
But they're on, right on the town square.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Very much can do.
Mhm.
Let's get to a solution. And the people.
So that's where we're at with that, which I thought was very positive.
So you said petition that you would do something official.
Whatever Jason.
If that
tells
was
us
the
to
next
do.
step.
I assume
Is that the next
that
step?
he's gonna come with a
Oh,
recommendation.
that's right,
to the
that's right.
trustee.
You're gonna talk with them. and that- okay.
Well, and I was, my plan was to, I'm gonna have it in writing from them with from Coldwater about the petition. The county says we gotta do the petition.
Mhm.
My question for you is, do we bring it tomorrow for a resolution to put to set the petition and sign the check and send
Why
it?
not? Why not?
Put it in motion. You can always cancel it.
My answer is yes.
Okay,
So tell that to Ash.
Bravo.
And what, it's $1,500? Or
Yeah.
something.
I will do that.
I can't speak for my other two peers, but that's my opinion.
Well, I know we'll give at least one to say yes.
I think when presented with, we're looking at all other options, we always can cancel it. But it's all complimentary. I don't see why anyone would say. no.
Well, I think we all agreed on let's start the process, and if it gets to the first commission meeting and they kill it, then we know.
Solve the problem. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Any word on the belts? I know you've been, John, I know you've been in touch with a representative from the church, just to keep in touch.
I talked to Mary.
Just-
We have good conversations.
Good conversation.
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Want to keep, I got the old.
Yeah.
Speaking of a belt.
Yes.
Okay.
We're happy with the way the conversations are going, so.
Very good, very good.
I got 5 minutes.
You go for it, minimum,
All right.
until they leave, but you can further through.
So my paid representative here brought up my point because he said people are going to ask about cost, right? And then they're going to ask about when. And I'm a firm believer that we need to produce some benefit sooner rather than later that people can see. And so I thought there's nothing like a plan to get the discussion started. So I sat and drafted what I believe to be my opinion on Harlem Township Community Park 2026 enhancements that could be done, leveraging what we have or what's in front of us. So we have a preservation parks grant that is coming up. So I wanted to put a target because we talked about a pocket park and all that seems too far out. So how can we make that grant a reality? We get a proposal in for some of that money and produce immediate results that we can show people we're moving. So I drafted up 14 things that I think should happen in Harlem Township Community Park. And I'll just cover them briefly with you. One, immediately apply for the preservation parks. We haven't done that. I think we need to apply for it. The remaining parts talk about how we would spend that money. And I'm getting personal estimates on it
What's the dollar?
of what? It's $100,000.
Yeah, but it's
But it's
two
two
$50,000 projects is what we want.
So we're targeting one $50,000
Exactly.
project is
Yeah.
what we're targeting, right?
Yeah.
So point two, I believe there are several structures in the park that are creating substantial risk and are dilapidated and need to be demolished. So I would demolish those two dilapidated structures, the snack building and the storage shed at the west end of the parking lot. They are posing a danger to residents just because they're very dilapidated. They need to be removed. I would remove the front parking lot completely to preserve the frontage on 605. If we're going to develop, we need to maintain that frontage. The concrete plant produces some of it. I think we can produce more frontage by removing that parking space. There's ample parking space. I ran some preliminary numbers, and for a park of its size, if we free up all of the parking on the back lot, it should provide enough. We would bulldoze the front parking lot and return it to green space. We would remove the basketball court, which is located uncomfortably close to the public restrooms and creating accessibility issues to the drinking fountain. We would move the recycling containers from the park to maximize parking yield, and we've got someone looking into where to put the, how and if we could remove those recycling containers. After the conclusion of this year's baseball season, we'd remove the shed that is sitting in the middle of the parking lot off to the side and potentially move it backwards onto the maintenance facility grounds back lot back there and remove the trash containers. There's trash containers, and I happened to be in the park and watched multiple people stop their cars and unload all their garbage into the trash containers that are behind the shed that the ballpark uses. So all of that I would remove completely out. I would install 2 pickleball courts and 1 modern basketball court on the back half of the former front parking lot. So those are the white structures that you see. 2 pickleball courts back and back, and a basketball court with a trail in between it. I'd install lighting around those new sports courts, and it put a trail where the trailhead kind of ends into the parking lot. I would continue that trail between the 2 courts and all the way out past the maintenance building for potential connection to the cemetery eventually. I would complete leveling the old concrete plant and plant trees, install picnic tables while maintaining the frontage for potential future development. I utilize handicap grants to upgrade the restroom facilities and make a drinking fountain accessible. I'd relocate the community park sign to a more predominant location. Right now it's sitting in the middle of the pollinator garden and you almost can't read it. So I would install it, and with new branding, I would add additional signings for the parking lot, and I would relocate the Fireman Memorial, which now sits, almost looks like a podium in the current pavilion, to a more suitable location out by the flag or in front of the fire department, so that it can get a respectful place. So these are the things that I thought could be done in the reasonably short term with some of the grants. I did. My brother is in the business of tennis courts and pickleball courts, and I asked him, and he said $20,000 for a pickleball court is not out of the realm of, they can go between $20,000 and $40,000 per court. So installing 1 or 2 courts this year with $50,000 is not totally out of the realm of possibility. So I think with doing this type of enhancement to the park is something that could be painted as a short-term vision that residents would get immediate value from. It placed priority on what they told us they wanted in the survey, right? What they said was more active recreation. Pickleball came up multiple times. Sports courts do that with basketball. Accessibility came up. So we have accessibility to the bathroom and keeping the main activity centers away from the bathroom a little bit, as well as walking. And so a trail continuation that would come down through the courts and go down back across the maintenance facility, or at least a plan for that, would also get, would start kind of people thinking about, it's not a circular trail, it's actually a trail that leads to other places, and start kind of the beginning parts. I thought of how it also aligns to our strategic plan, and it lines up on multiple fronts. I don't have time to talk about that, but it kind of, again, it basically says we are actually doing something. We're going to set in motion it this year to do it. We're going to plan for it this year. My personal opinion is, while we have grading equipment out at the concrete plant, we get the front lot graded and get that immediately done so we can leverage the equipment that's already in place. So I wanted to put at least my thoughts on paper, get reaction, but the whole purpose here is to ignite a conversation for something we can do now, and that we could point to the community and say, listen, this is what we're talking about when we're talking about new parks. You have a pickleball court. right? You can play pickleball. You've got a basketball court that isn't attached to a restroom facility. You've got some place where you can do active sporting with lighting that actually will light up and illuminate the courts. So I think these things are achievable. And that's what I would recommend we pursue, some or not. I think the trash containers are definitely doable, right? So I think we can pick off certain items of these things very, very easily. The maintenance, the shed for the baseball courts can be moved at the end of the year. That's easily done. The demolition of the 2 structures can be done. So I think that all these things are relatively simple. So I'll yield the rest of my time.
Thank you. Bob? Heavy truckload right over the forehead? Ed?
Okay, thank you.
Watch your orientation on the pickleball, right? North-south is what you want to, so nobody's looking into the sun. So there's some little nuances
It could
to
spin.
design.
Yeah, spin it. I love it.
So I always advocate for these conceptual master plan. If you're talking all these changes with parking and pickleball locations and basketball courts, sometimes you can have issues with courts being too close to parking because kids will turn the radio up in the back of their car and they'll be blasting music and it's just disturbing the whole park. So there's little nuances to where you place things, but I like your ideas. I love that you're thinking what's the low hanging fruit that we can say we've done an improvement in a year or so of getting this plan completed.
People see pickleball courts and a basketball player up there, they will. Don't have to drive to New Albany. Does this group need time to digest this? Can we meet as soon as next week to have a conversation solely on this? And the courses of action and benefits and risks that might unfold? It seems like it would be worth thought and a conversation and then a plan. We're not gonna solve it today.
Nope.
But it's important enough that we shouldn't wait another month. It seems. Jason, is that?
No, I agree. I've actually been in conversation with Dan off the record and I like most ideas. Some are more challenging than others, like everything, but I think it's worth internal discussion and you two probably don't necessarily need to be wrong. If you want to be part just because you have the intel, the layouts, you're always welcome, but you're also a busy guy.
I want to make sure anything we do would be
But-
consistent with the grant.
Right, I'm thinking.
But that's, I'm
grant.
thinking the grant too. and-
No, we're not gonna fund that.
Right.
Very unlikely.
But if you're thinking, pickleball with a grant and if that'll
Yeah.
maybe cover it, why not?
Yeah, I mean, we'd ask that you have some estimate done, so a contractor who would say, can do the line item estimate, say this, we're gonna be able to build this. And that's good enough for
Can
us.
we meet on the 21st at 11?
No,
Yes.
I have jury.
Oh, you two, federal court?
Delaware.
Oh, I got federal court week.
Well, 20th,
But I can-
22nd, 2021.
Of this, my comment here
Next week.
is, this looks like a Christmas wish list. It's just is.
Yeah, I did.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Hey, have a wonderful experience in school.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Yeah,
Thanks.
it's been
Thanks for
really
all that
fun
you've
working on
given
it.
to us.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
for your work.
Thank you. Thanks.
I'll do my best.
Good luck
Yeah.
to you. Yeah, total confidence.
Thanks, man.
Christmas.
It's just a series of statements that don't connect to information or documentation. It's in, we're just going to come in and remake a third of the park without, giving really. It just seems like, this is driving a plan rather than coming out of a plan. That this doesn't, people complained about things, 2 or 3 people complained about things, 2 or 3 people asked for things. And we're jumping at stuff that doesn't exist, really. I'd like to see if somebody wants to work on this, start working on it, yes. But the idea that this is 2026, when we're told basically in a month, we're gonna start planning on the 2027 stuff and laying out the funding and stuff. If we wanted to start some construction that we're hoping to work mostly in 2027, this begins to look more like, instead of just being off the cuff, it's planned.
I think my response, I appreciate that feedback. I think my response is, the items, and I'm open for dialogue on any items. The items I took were based upon the response of the survey. So I think the goal, right, is to how can we actionalize the survey, the feedback we received from hundreds of residents on what they want in a park, and produce something for them that they feel tangible to build credibility and goodwill going forward, right? I think that we get stuck in a trap of never doing anything and producing a whole bunch of documents that people don't believe in because they never get the tangible benefits, which is why he said when, because people like it, but they never get to the when. Things dissolve, people leave. So that, coupled with the fact that we've had a preservation grant open for 2 months and no one has, we've talked about it, but no one has drafted a credible plan to actually capture that money and do something. I'll write the damn grant if I have to, right? But it's to let that money, we have a member sitting on the committee who can help us get $50,000 and something, but we have to come up with a plan, right? And so I don't think
he'll be our out.
I think he will be our out, absolutely, right? So let's throw this in the fire and burn it, but let's get $50,000 and let's put it to our park. Let's clean up our park with, with things that, from my perspective, as I talk to people, are optimal with the park. The trash situation. Again, I just had to park. We went around the park and there are people dumping their garbage out of the back of the thing. We've had our maintenance director say that he spends a fair amount of his time cleaning garbage from around the bins and moving it over to the township at our expense, right? That situation, huh?
Gotta stop.
It's got to stop, and it's not conducive to a park environment. It's conducive to a trash free-for-all. Now, if we want to allow trash collection, great. Let's put it in an appropriate place. But my view is there's no real reason for 2 parking lots. None that I can think of. We've got a good parking lot in the back. If you free up all the space in it, it produces a huge amount of parking. I think we just have to use the space wisely. We have to think about development. All this frontage, the frontage that parking lot sits on is valuable township center frontage, right? We have to keep that open and ready for development for when we talk about the city center plan. And so how we can leave the frontage open, leave the concrete plant open, but still usable park space, and produce something, right? Maybe it's not a basketball court. Maybe it is only 1 pickleball court, but let's do what we can do as quickly as we can.
Dan, there's a lot in the survey that you're just not mentioning here. Yes, a few people, very few people talk, well, let's put in this or let's do that. But there was almost as many people saying, we like the open space, building more here, starting to wedge things in, rather than leaving this out as just an open space, the village green for the community. There are things we can do to make it work better as a village green for the community.
So I would support that. Then let's
But,
come to this group. We'll eliminate the courts. Let's rip down the shed, which is not a village green. Let's rip down the snack bar and let's return it all to green if we think that that's the right answer. But let's do something.
Okay, so that begins with a whole lot of planning. You don't own that shed that you want to tear down.
Does the township own the shed?
No, the township doesn't own it either. So you.
So why is-
Well,
But let's have this
listen,
discussion.
Dan,
Heritage, the local historical organization that sponsors Harlem Day. That owns that and uses it for storage.
Okay, but it's sitting on a township park.
Correct.
So what I'm saying is, let's find an adequate, suitable other space for that storage. I saw in the snack shed and there's nothing in there and it's an electrical hazard. Let's tear it down and let's move the stuff. Like, I don't understand, and I'm not appreciating, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I'm not understanding the barriers to a shed that is barely standing that could be returned to valuable space and eliminate the risk. It doesn't make sense to me.
So what I'm saying, Dan, is not whether or not the shed should be there or not, or whether it's ugly or not. That's not the argument here. It's, if you're going to suggest something, at least know where you're standing and start making, plan, listen, be able to say, this is, some of the characteristics of this that we can help develop, that we can maintain, these sorts of things. Understand that there are going to be costs here, not just money, but costs in the way some things are currently aligned right now. Lacking that understanding, you're just, you leave people with no position other than to say no.
And I think it's fair. I think everyone has their right to say no. I'd like to have the real reasons why people are saying no. I think this commission is here to move the park system forward against the strategy. I think we've heard from 300 plus residents as to what they like. I think a fair review will show that most of them talked about walking, most of them talked about physical. And I think that at this point, I am the only person to put anything forward or to talk about the grant or anything more, to this body. I'm not saying people aren't doing stuff. So I think if there are alternatives, alternative plans, competing plans, I would invite an active discussion about them. I think that's healthy.
And we've got till October 1st to submit a
When
plan.
we have until October, yeah.
That's, my question was, when's the grant?
It's October 1st.
October.
Yeah, I saw it.
It was, it came out in the meeting minutes 2 meetings ago. Yeah.
Well, if
We don't have to.
we don't have to, my assumption was that would be too.
Well, and I comment on there with John, but I agree with some of these,
Some of this.
like the heritage shed, but it's gonna take a process to get that stuff moved wherever it may need to be moved.
But
But it needs to go.
And there has to be alternative storage.
Now, removing a parking lot, I think that's a little bigger, it's a little more involved, I don't disagree with it. But I don't know if we're ready for that. Just because change creates havoc. But to envision some of these and get them on paper, and let's plan it, and let's budget it, and say, this is what's gonna happen. And then we do it. Now, I'm all about getting the grant. I've been trying to get contractors to look at the restroom for 6 months on how to insulate it and heat it, and they won't even show up. Won't even show up to look at it.
And I will personally partner with you to find a contractor that will come in and do it and make sure that they will execute.
Because I would, before we push a pickleball honestly, in the summer, we don't know if it'll fit or not. I would like to see that restroom become a 4-season restroom, so it's there, it's open, it's usable all year round. We threw enough money in it last year to make it nice. So let's make it better. And maybe the grant could be something to look into the restroom, get it insulated, get a split unit in it for heating, get some ventilation in it. Maybe natural lighting or something, I don't know, to make it more appeasing, but if that's a big, hey, we're open all year round, I think will be a good push.
I think it's fair. I would I would,
So if you can assist with any of that, or anybody, is by means, I'm blue in the face if I've called 5 people and they just won't show up, compared to a guy that walks the track every Sunday, and he's a contractor, and he can't even get his guys to show up.
Yeah.
And he lives right here on Center Village, and it's like, people, they just don't want, I guess they don't want our money. I mean, I'm just baffled by it.
I think that, it definitely can help, right?
'Cause-
Get people show, I think that what we have to think about, what I would suggest is, we have to think a little bit broader about what is going to be in fact impactful for the most people. And the bathroom did come up once or twice in the survey, but a significant number talked about walking trails and active participation. And I think that, in my mind, the way I think about it is what are my expectations of a bathroom facility in a park? None of them are glorious places, right? They're bathrooms. I think that ours they're not accessible, but they're okay.
Right, well, that's part of the band.
They are okay, right? They're not accessible, but they are okay. I think that most people in the park would advocate, would appreciate, would recognize more activity options, right? More things to do at the park is what my read of it. And I would encourage to check those facts, and you can check them yourself. And that's why I thought, how can we deploy free money to produce something that a fair amount of residents would come to the park who don't ordinarily come? Because I do tend to see the same people all the time at the park, the exact same people. So how can we attract new groups of people to the park? How can we bring a new capability to the park? And how can we deploy it? I think a bathroom, fixing the bathroom is definitely great if it were broken. Does it need to be 4 seasons? I'd love it to be 4 seasons. Do I think that I'm going to promote a fixed bathroom as part of our strategic plan and not part of our journey? Probably not, because my estimation is that's just part of the ordinary maintenance of a park. Like, that's just part, like, you should be able to just do that and make that happen. Installing a new capability is different, right? That's my
Oh, I agree with you.
I don't know.
Pickleball courts, basketball court, a water splash pad. I think if you want new people, those are the things that are gonna get you new people. And moms will talk to moms and they'll all show up. Those are big things. So I'm all for big things. If there's not a sense of urgency, I'm content waiting until the August meeting. It seems that this is worth thinking about, it's worth discussing. There are easy kills on it that we should nail while the weather is good. And we can, personal opinion. There are bigger things that are going to require the grant, more planning, more conversation, and getting onboarding people into the process. So let's work it. Do we wait until August to identify easy kills and get going?
I don't think we do.
No, each of us chip in. As soon as we get home, we're like, okay, I like this, I don't like that.
Here's my
Here's
my opinion.
Let's continue this meeting online, you know what I'm
I'm okay
saying?
with that.
To get the grant, so even this discussion has been helpful because there's not a unanimous view, and we need to be able to be unanimous in whatever we're writing the grant for. So I wouldn't underestimate how, especially given some of the feedback, how challenging it may be to come to an agreement on what that grant is actually going to be for. So I think it
Come up with
takes,
$50,000.
but we have to be able, we got to write the
Are
grant.
you gonna use it for restroom?
Right.
We can spend $50,000.
Oh, that's not, but
What are you gonna spend it on?
That's
and you need to know that to get it, because you have to write the grant.
sure.
So we have to, we've got to come to an agreement on what we're going to do the grant
We
for.
want some professional estimate on what it's gonna cost us to do whatever we do.
So they take, it takes time.
No, all right.
Speaking of
Yeah,
estimates,
not our opinion.
speaking of estimates, okay, so I sent out that email. We have a local electrician who uses the park. knows that we need to upgrade the electrical system and is offered to give us an estimate. Can I give him the go ahead?
No,
Well, he's on the list.
Can I
call? I will call
Keep
him.
Okay.
I will call him because I've actually given his name to my Mike about a week ago.
You do have his name and number.
Yeah,
not-
well, yeah,
Okay.
and then you also provided.
but I think,
Yeah.
Okay.
here's.
Those, but those are.
But I mean, we could, but we could throw that in with, as part of the 50,000. Fix the electric. Do this, put into whatever.
But we have to read the grant and
But the grant needs to be bigger.
That's right, and the grant shouldn't be our housekeeping kind of stuff.
Right.
It needs to be the significant projects that I think are transformative, and appealing, and grant worthy. And
Okay.
fixing your electric in your bathroom ain't it.
Well,
So-
it's part of, renovation of restrooms and other facilities.
That's like,
Have been
I tried to
approved
get a
in the
grant
past.
to put a fence around the cemetery. That is not sexy. People don't wanna pay for a fence around your cemetery. And the grant committee doesn't look at that and say, well, we can't wait to give you our money. That's just reality. So you're gonna have to come up with a more significant project for your grant.
Which doesn't mean what you're saying doesn't get done. It just is not a grant item.
No, I want to fix the
Electric.
electric, but not with your grant.
Well, it would be one of many things that we would do. with
No,
this-
but
with the-
don't do that. That's not.
They're not, you're
Well,
not,
I'm gonna throw out a smorgasbord.
No.
you're not gonna get a
You can
grant.
reject it, but well, you've got a smorgasbord.
No,
I
I
know.
You
I
know,
got it.
Grant in
The
particular.
grant itself, you're not gonna get a grant based on
Electrical
20
upgrade.
25 items they wanna do.
And
They're
then-
not gonna reward it. They're gonna give it
They're gonna
to
give it to somebody
the
else.
city of Delaware who's building a flat.
Flash pad.
Yes.
Yes. And Ed, here's, I appreciate what you're saying. I truly
Yeah.
do. And I respect it.
Which to me,
Here-
actually inflicts the concrete plant,
Here's what,
but.
Ooh, ouch. Ooh,
Here-
did someone say that out loud?
here's where I think we're in alignment, right? I think there should be a 2026, I put this on there provocatively for this reason, right? A 2026 plan of what's gonna happen in the park. And I think what happened is there's a, we're creating a lot of dust with a lot of stuff, which is not allowing the few resources we have to focus on the things we agree upon. We need a 2026 list so that everything else can get separated from it. And we get focused on producing whatever's on that. So for instance, if we have a 2026 parks plan and that parks plan says electrical upgrades, the lighting can go in, B, C, D, whatever those items are, then Jason can have the clear accountability then to make those things happen. But when everyone is hitting, my view, the few resources we have with the 140 things that need to be done, we end up getting very little accomplished. So I want to have that discussion so we can come to a list. Then I think we block it off and say, this is grant worthy. This is something else worthy. This is donation, but we got to focus on the big things from a strategy perspective. Ultimately, that's what people will appreciate. That's what's going to get us the lift.
I would appreciate, Jason, for you to prioritize this. And then that be the basis of our conversation. You prioritize them. Here, Dan has said, hey, I think all these things. You can prioritize them. I'd like to know what ones are the easy kills and what can we do in 2026. And then try to then have a conversation, agree or disagree, execute. Some things are gonna go in the grant bucket. All right, well, got to write a grant, that's gonna happen in 2027. And there may be other things, but I think your leadership here would be helpful for the group. And
I don't disagree with
what
that.
you think are the priorities.
To be honest, that's part of the struggle of my leadership is overlooked by the volunteers in the park. And this fact is, not to point out that, but hey, let's talk to the electrician, get it done. I need to talk to the electrician. It's our building. I need to coordinate that. I have a meeting with Jeff on Thursday. about some issue with the ball diamond that are gonna cut the light.
Just a teal?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
but that's another conversation that there's too many fingers in the pot. Doing what they wish, how they wish, and when they wish, without me knowing anything. And I'm starting to cause havoc. So I just wanna bring that to light.
Yeah, speak
That
up.
as a commission that we are, all ideas to the table. But priorities need to be set, we need to have plans, we need to have lists. Wants, wills, what have you, and then I will prioritize them and get them pushed through. But I don't need approval to fix a depleted electrician box that I can't get anybody to quote me on. The one guy that quoted was last year and he still hasn't showed up. Now this guy came to the table, was a local guy, I'm gonna talk to him.
Yeah.
Please,
Yeah,
what can you offer?
yeah,
That's been a 2-year process,
yes.
you know, so those little things. That get me kind of wound up of being in the position I'm in. Without having any say, kind of. Is what I would like from more of you guys. To bring ideas to the table. Prioritize your ones.
Yeah.
Then we'll communicate and we can make it happen.
100%.
But as he stated in the little laundry list of wants, those don't need to be publicly being held. They're just maintenance. They just need
Aren't
done.
these things already budgeted?
Yeah,
We don't even need to talk about it.
no, I just gotta get somebody to do it.
Right.
To the point where Bill and I are about to do it, cause we can,
And we
The
need to
electric
stay out
panel.
of your way.
but I legally should not do that panel because I'm not licensed.
Yeah.
It becomes a whole nother game. But
So,
these are all parts I have on the table over there. In my garage, cause let's face it, it's a garage. That are in motion. One small step at a time with everything else that I have to do. But this is. I have dear heart in the park and want it to be better and bigger. And nicer and bring more in and as much as we can in a nice fashion. Cause like I mentioned, change creates havoc and people shut down.
So you've got everyday operations and continuing maintenance and upgrades. You've got,
Monthly things.
You've got staffing.
Seasonal
you've
things.
got staffing, which is an issue. Staffing
Which is all in conversation.
Well, and you've got facilities. You know, we were looking at the concrete plant as a possible expansion site for the facilities, staffing, and all these projects. They all go hand in hand.
Right. And they all take time and effort.
Any
That's
talk,
my
any
2
talk about
cents.
increasing staffing?
I don't think, but see, I don't think it's your 2 cents. We should be enabling your leadership to get things done. And so it's not 2 cents. That's the way the committee should be working, is to enable and to provide an outlet for you to vet problems that you cannot get accomplished. Otherwise, they should be. So it's like, how can we enable your job be more effective, more efficient? You know, get those large rocks moved, right?
Agreed.
That's how we need to be acting to help you, but it's not your, that hurt me personally, because it's not just your 2 cents. You lead the commission. You lead the park. And so that's the way it should be.
I don't have a problem with a member coming and saying, hey, I have these ideas that I think the committee should consider.
Right.
And to know you guys have already talked about this a little bit. But then my thing is, okay, Jason, I value your opinion on this, because you're the one that's gonna really oversee the execution of this. We can help with writing agreements. And so it seems the next step is you prioritize, so you tell us what's the easy kill. Here's what I'm gonna need help on. And we figure out how to execute. How do we support you doing this?
That is exactly. I don't know, call exercise that this was working with Dan on this and him wanting to bring this. And felt reaction. On. Bringing our group together more as a common one. than just ideas going left and right like a firework.
Mhm.
And this is the first step one of, we have things on paper. Let's communicate, I'll prioritize, I'll execute where, what, and how, and we will plan for the bigger ones.
So last September, October. Coming out of meetings and requests to people who were on the committee. To send me ideas, this sort of stuff. A laundry list was compiled. This is the stuff that we did good in 2025. Here are the things to work on in 2026. Kind of approach on it. And there was, some idea of not just what it is, but the structure of what was going to happen, what would the work look like? And then a basic number was out there of how cost based on a quick Google of things. So that was where we started out on 2026. And I think we've worked through a number of things that were on that list. Typically, there's a list of several dozen and one or two get worked on and move forward, and there's progress going, but there was never any intent to simply transform things at this point. The big items that I was looking for was just things like planning for what is it that we like about the northwest quadrant, and what are kinds of things that we should consider to do there? Why are these things important in the park? How can we better do them? The picnic shelter and the concession stand were on that list, and we've talked about them a little bit, but it's never gotten out to that point of, I ask people, do you like having a picnic shelter here? And almost everybody says yes. And I say then, well, what is it that we can do to make it better? And I'll get back to you is sort of the response I get on that. So we're at that, yeah, we'd like a picnic shelter. Does it have to be here? And how does it work better? And these sorts of questions, that's where we need to spend some time. The front parking lot is been an integral part of the park. How is it gonna change the way people see the park? It might be a really good idea, but we're changing something that people have seen for generations. And I think we need to be able to also sit down and say, wait, is there a downside here? Are there things that are going to impact that people are going to be bothered by for more than a few days kind of stuff? Or is this just really everybody thinks about time we did it, which is possible here as things moving. In this community, which slowness seems to be pretty much the order of the day. But this kind of stuff we've been doing. And I think what I'm hearing today is that the list is a good place to start, but there's an awful lot of work that needs to be done so that Jason isn't having to figure out what needs to be done, and he has that and can work with the scheduling, the organization, the logistics on it, and put it into motion. I'm frustrated often that people say, why wasn't this done yesterday at the park? Well, it doesn't work that way for a lot of reasons and a lot of good reasons. Let's see this list as a good starting point here. Let's get a good run going here. And this, if this can guide us with working on a grant, I'm all in favor of helping out a little bit. Somebody does all of the big work. This is good.
Do you have the 2026 list he's referring to?
It's our budget. That's our budget list that he creates.
Which we will be generating again for 2027.
I mean, it's kind of the budget wish,
Okay.
but then I held down the accounts that,
So
and prior was always generated. Mainly by Dave, honestly, with small input. But, you know,
Yeah, I cannot keep going here. I got stuff I can do. So. I'm okay waiting until, are you guys want to keep talking without me? It's fine. I can't keep going. If we wait till August, that's fine. Here's my response to you, Dave. I hear you about this is the way it's been, or slow is the norm. From the time I became a trustee to today, the pace of change has increased exponentially. And the conversations that are happening around this table has changed dramatically. And that pace is not going to slow down. In fact, it's going to get faster. And we have to get faster. And there are going to be forces that come to bear on us that cause us, that demand more of us on our, I'm going to call it the OODA loop: observe, orient, decide, act. This is how, in a dogfight, I wrote a book on how do I manage my opponent? And the way the U.S. Air Force does it is they teach pilots, you need to make an observation, you need to orient yourself to this situation, you need to make a decision, and you need to execute on that decision. It's called the OODA loop. And you want to get inside the OODA loop of your opponent so that you are doing that process faster than he is.
Yeah.
And so we as a township have people all around us running OODA loops, development OODA loops. And we have been so far outside of their OODA loop that all we can do is react. But we want to be observing, oriented, deciding, and acting faster than they are. And so the pace of change, the slow is the way it is, it's gonna have to change. And it is changing. And so that's just my observation. I think that's reality. And so when I look at something like this, I'm like, okay, there it is. Somebody's got an opinion. Jason needs to orient it. We need to hit off the easy kills. We need to write to the grant, and we need to make a decision about what we're doing sooner rather than later. And if we don't we need to get really good at that as a team. This team needs to get really good at that. Not being slow. And are you going to make mistakes when you're not? Yeah, you're going to make mistakes. Are you going to make people angry? Yeah. But people will come to respect your leadership as you help make this a better place over time. They'll agree with some of your decisions. They'll disagree with some of your decisions. But in the main, you're making Harlan Township a better place. And we're just going to need a really good leader. Okay, I agree. My personal opinion. And I gotta go.
Thanks, John.
I gotta make sense of it. All right.
Thank you, Jim.
See you later.
So I'm also need to get out of here to get on work. Today.
Well, now that I'll call the meeting. We gotta turn it off. Even though I probably should have already done that.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.